these. We'll do. I'm Joshua Colby. What is it? I'm a student at Nova Southeastern University, and working on a project for what is it? We are doing a wetlands habitat unit in our natural ecology class, and so I was looking to interview you, possibly seeing if we could like start learning about some of these like other projects that are working on like developing wetlands and like up and like so that they can incorporate more into more public works. But that's me. But who are
Yeah,
you?
great. And I'm Jeff Colby, the Public Works Director in Yarmouth, Massachusetts. And I sent you a presentation on one of the projects, but there's a couple of projects that the town of Yarmouth is doing that's led by the Department of Public Works that are restorative in nature. This one with the Bass River project, Upper Bass River, is involves removing some restrictive culverts and um, restoring some cranberry bogs, so previous agricultural use, to more of their previous condition. But there's other projects we've worked on too, which we can touch upon if you'd like.
All right. Um, I'll just slowly go through the slides so that like, while I'm asking the questions, and if there's any specific slides that you think would be like answer any questions fairly well, I can scroll right to the slide. Um. So I'll keep it on this slide. But the first question will be, what is it? What are the current projects in the town of Yarmouth that are working on to restore and remedy wetlands right now?
Yeah, this is probably a good slide to show kind of because it shows most of Yarmouth and a little bit of Dennis, our neighboring town. But the Upper Bass River project is in the box on this slide, and that's all the way at the headwaters. That's why it's a kind of a neat restorative project in that previously disturbed area. But there is another project called the Chase Brook project that we are um, restoring. We're actually creating some walking trails in that area as well. That's down on the Route 28 corridor, so just to the bottom corner of that map. You probably can't move that map around, but right over your shoulder on that southwest corner of town
All right.
is a previously developed property that had a restaurant on one property and two hotels on the other properties, and the town has purchased those and is combining them, undeveloping them. I wouldn't recommend that for
Mhm.
every property because obviously you
Yeah.
need some developed properties, but in a pretty urbanized corridor to undevelop some properties and add some green spaces, kind of a neat restorative type of project. And the focus on that one is taking the area and removing all of the asphalt building structures, things like that, creating some walking paths on a pedestrian bridge,
Mhm.
and then replanting the area with native vegetation. So we're working very closely with the Yarmouth Conservation Commission to select only native vegetation to reestablish that area. So that's one project that's currently happening, but I probably should also just spend most of the time talking about the Upper Bass River project because you've got some, good information on this, and we can go to
Yeah.
the next slide if you'd like.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah. No, all the projects you're saying are fairly. They're all relative, and it's all good to cover. But we'll go on to the. I don't know if this is a good slide. I don't know why I think it's like sliding through a bunch of them at the same time. But
Yeah, I could talk about this one if you'd like. This actually shows the existing conditions with the two culverts on the right-hand side of the slide. They're highlighted in circled in red. One is on Weir Road and one is on North Dennis Road. As you can see from those existing conditions, they're very undersized, and
mhm.
what's being replaced are those are being replaced with bridges. So there'll be clear spans for clear passage of water and wildlife.
Oh, all right. Yeah, what is actually that? I see that like the illustrations. What is it? It's a creative aspect. Yeah. What is it? Does a town engineer draw those up or something, or like they have
This is our consultant did most of these slides. Ty and Bond is the consultant. I have to give them a lot of credit.
no?
They are the ones that are essentially designing the project. There's a lot of project partners, which is kind of the neat thing about this particular project. Not only has the town of Dennis, our neighboring community, contributed some funds, but also we have some funds from Fish and Wildlife that are in the mix, as well as from a Cape Cod Conservation District that has contributed some funds, and also NOAA, National Oceanographic Administration, has contributed funds. So we have a lot of partners when we're doing these restorative projects, at least in our area in New England. We have a number of different agencies that want to line up and assist. The major state agency in Massachusetts is the Department of Ecological Restoration. This is considered a priority project for them, and they'll find money for us to get it done. So,
That's pretty cool. And it's cool to see like groups like especially like NOAA, especially what's going on nowadays with like seeing them fund like local projects like this. But
yes.
we'll go on to like this next question right here. How's the town going to work around some of the natural areas in like streams or rivers or important hydrological areas of value to like the ecosystem to basically rework it into a more like native state while maintaining the current hydrological like stream that it has right now.
Right. So those, at least from a water flow standpoint, those undersized culverts get expanded. There's probably some other slides that in the slide deck there that show the graphic representations of the final conditions. One of them is actually a 60-foot wide bridge, and the other is a 22-foot wide bridge. So, those bridges restore kind of the natural flow. This is just the one you're showing now is just an example from another community of the type of project that can be done. So you could, flip past this. That
All
just
right.
shows these types of projects, and a number of communities are looking at them as far as what they look like. Uh, we also did a project with the rail trail in Yarmouth. So this is just another project. It's not the North Dennis Road project or the
Hmm.
Weir Creek project, but it is one that shows what can be done when you're looking to restore the river, at least from a flow standpoint.
All
The other
right.
part of the North Dennis Road project, and I'm sure it's on one of these slides that's in the slide deck, is the naturalizing of the cranberry bogs. So these are cranberry bogs, about 17 acres of cranberry bogs that are overgrown at this point. They're no longer
Mhm.
of any agricultural value, and they're the way cranberry bogs are farmed is there's sand that's just dumped over these peat layers of peat. And so
Mhm.
they're removing the restorative project portion is to remove the sand, kind of dig up the area, naturalize the streams as opposed
Mhm.
to the very channelized water flow that's in a cranberry bog.
All right.
And then it's very disruptive. And anytime we do a presentation, we always tell people to expect to see heavy equipment on a cranberry bog in a wetland. That's an unnatural thing to see, but they're restoring it. They're digging up, kind of the years of sand and results of the agricultural farming and returning it back.
Mhm.
And one of the things that I like to also mention when talking about these types of projects is that this is something fascinating. I didn't realize that kind of that natural seed bank is down within is below the surface. And as soon as the equipment comes in, removes the added material to fill, and kind of digs up that seed area or exposes the seeds, they just rejuvenate the plant material that used to be there. So most of these projects, there's one in Harwich, uh, Colebrook
Yep.
is a project in Harwich that is finishing up. You've been there before.
Yep.
This is Yarmouth's version of that project,
Mhm.
and they typically don't plant much because the seeds are already there. They just expose them and allow them to grow naturally.
Huh. Oh, what is it? I didn't think about it like that. That's pretty cool because it's a very restorative way and it's minimal impact too. So it's pretty cool.
Yes.
Move on to the next question so we can get things going. But we can loop back to any of these slides. Apologies again on the slides because I'm like it's I think it's when I tap the mouse pad it goes left or right, but it'll like spam up and down between the slides. So I'm trying to keep it
It,
somewhat coordinated with our current plan
right.
of
Some of
questions.
these are like existing conditions, but a couple slides down, it's going to show what's being proposed. It'll
Okay,
be
yeah.
helpful.
I'll ask this question, then while you're talking, I'll see if I can slide down to that next one. Is the town planning to continue projects like this or restore natural areas and bring more natural-based tourism, so kind of more ecotourism to Cape Cod overall?
Yes, absolutely. In our area, these projects are starting to build momentum. There's a couple of towns that are just finishing projects. Harwich is one. In Yarmouth is just starting a project. Hopefully, this project will be under construction next year. But we're seeing them start to gain momentum. Every community is looking at doing more of these projects. In addition to this one, which we're highlighting today, but the town's looking at one that's probably another 5 years down the road before we can actually start construction, but it's our Cranberry Bog Restoration Project. We call it the Bayview Bogs. It's off of Bayview Road near the Cape Cod Hospital. And that's a pretty big kind of wetland system that was all previous cranberry bogs and it's going to be restored. It's just a lot further down the road as far as a project. It's just something that's just
Yeah.
starting to be studied. This project has been looked at for the last 7 or 8 years, and it's not just contemplating, but it's building commitment from the community. It's finding the funds. It's the permitting. I
Hmm.
will say that the longest lead time for permits is usually the Army Corps of Engineers permit. That takes a while to get. So design permitting and just making sure you have all the funds to get the project done all take time. This one's going to be happening very soon, but there's others that are in other parts of the design stage, early design stage.
Yeah. And what is it? It's especially like important nowadays. Like, what is it from when you see like, especially in areas like Cape Cod where it's a constantly changing habitat hydrologically, environmentally, and doing anything you can to stay and like kind of make sure the environment is minimally changed or even restoring it in a way. It's important and it's really nice to see like towns like Yarmouth, and Harwich taking the charge in this one. But. Uh, looking at like the designer here, like is this what you were talking about before with what is it there's you kind of see if you don't know if you can see my cursor, but what is it where that red like that red plot area is that was that kind of where we were looking at before with that like eroding bank area about like
Yes,
right there.
exactly. That's where that eroding bank is. So this is kind of the plan view, which shows the road alterations that are happening because there are some improvements associated with the bridge and the road and the drainage, all of that beyond just the wetland restoration. But this is a good slide because it does show what the restoration of the embankments are going to look like. The green is also kind of a restorative area. That reddish brown is more where the fishing platform is. That actually gets rebuilt as well. Because there's been a lot of erosion, both upstream and downstream of this culvert. And that green area basically shows the extent of that restoration. There's some good slides in here that show the cranberry bog restoration, but what you're showing on this slide is separate from the cranberry bog restoration. It's just like the
Mhm.
bank restoration.
So if I'm mistaken, correct me, but like there's multiple phases to the project. There's the cranberry bog first, and that's more of like the natural area, and then they're going to be adding more of this. Then they're going to be doing this in more of like a second phase.
Yeah, this is the second phase. The first one is to do the Weir Creek culvert, which is the smaller bridge, and also the cranberry bogs that are both upstream and downstream of that one. All of the 17 acres, they all get restored. And then once that area is ready to receive flow, they
Hmm.
go and do this portion of the project, which you're showing right now, which is North Dennis Road. That's the
Okay,
60-foot wide bridge, and will let a large amount of water in. And so they want to make sure the rest of the project is stabilized and completed before they kind of open up the large flow, if you will, at this location.
definitely, yeah,
Second phase.
yeah. Um, yeah. I think that's like the bog restoration area is like you're looking at. But we'll move on to the next question. And what is it? Then I'll see if I can slide back up because I think I saw for a second like that some more in-depth photos of the existing conditions. But if you could adjust anything from this project, what would it be and why? Would there be anything that you would maybe for future projects that you would see maybe like to try and streamline the area or like the way that you're impacting it or seeing if you could streamline like the work time frame or even like the money funding would you see if you could like see if that would be able to like spread out between more projects throughout the town or like other towns possibly too.
Yeah, I'd like to see more funding for these types of projects. So it would be nice if the state or federal government got behind some of these, and we would, see more of them happening. I will say most of what we've seen for funding has come very piecemeal, and it's come mostly from the state. but it would be helpful to have larger, funding for these types of projects. There's huge environmental benefits. Also, if there was any way to streamline some of the permitting, it takes multiple years to get these permitted, and it would be nice if there could be some uh, simplification of that process so that it'd be easier to get these projects done. I would say those are kind of the two big takeaways. There's always other things that we can learn from, working with our partners and things they'd like to see as far as funding that we could maybe improve, and therefore they'd fund larger parts of the project. But I would say funding and permitting are two things that could be improved.
Yeah. Well, I'm just trying to look over some notes, but I'll scroll while I'm doing that, see if we can find anything else. But oh yeah, like what is it? It's like especially the community now. Is there like is there anything that that like since I'll be posting this online, I'll send you a link to the video. Is there any way that that people can get involved in their communities, even if they're not from Yarmouth, anywhere like good ways to get involved with like any wetlands projects or anything going on?
Yeah, I'd say public outreach is always a huge piece, and this kind of shows one of the opportunities that we had. We probably could have done even more to involve the neighborhood, involve any concerns that might pop up. I think there is good support for these projects, but just letting people know
Hmm.
uh, that you're doing them, what the time frame is, how long the impact's going to be. Public outreach is huge. If people want to see more of these projects in their community, I would have people ask their elected officials about that. You know, Squeaky wheel gets the grease, and if reach out to your city council, to your mayor, whatever form of government you have, your local officials, and suggest they do these types of projects, they'll help build some interest.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all the questions I have for today. Maybe I'll scroll through, and I think that's it for the slides. So thank you again for helping me with the presentation today, and also educating people here online about about just anything, getting involved in like local projects because local people, especially people if it's in your area, play a major role in these, don't they? Like just like especially the elected officials, right?
Yes, yep, absolutely. Everybody has a part to play.
All right. Well, thank you so much.
All right, thanks.